Hey folks, Harry here and welcome to day 2 on my build a day challenge. Today I am following another tutorial, but I deviate away from it towards the end. So starting off, we have a 9x13 rectangle here which I build up and then start outlining the kind of struts, the supports with spruce logs. And then come to the end of the builds, add some spruce stairs to these supports, and then I kind of round them off with some slabs and trapdoors, kind of similar to how I done with the build on day 1. I start coming in here with the door, start playing around with some other sort of woods to kind of give myself that kind of porch. I didn't actually like it that much, but I will change that in a minute. I start adding the windows, which I then accent on the top with some polished andesite. Where I come back to the door and add an archway to try and give it a bit better of an entrance. Now I play with a few things, I still don't like it as much as I want to, but I kind of leave it, give myself a bit of torchlight, and yeah, it looks alright. Something just didn't feel right though. So I went into Axiom and I basically took it all and lifted it up one. Because it was too close to the ground. So I done that, I went back in and added all the bits that I basically just deleted. Before I start working on the front door again. Now I am starting using wood here to try and give myself a porch, but I didn't like it, and because the walls of the red are going to be the kind of stony kind of walls, I start using stone. Now I give myself a sort of one step up kind of block, but then when I come back and I look at it, I just didn't like it as much as I thought I did originally, and I will come back and delete it and shrink it in. And then I basically put I basically put 2 stairs and a slab at the front, and it kind of worked. It was nice, and with the spruce fencing going up the side of the door and the light, it just gave it a nice little porch looking thing, which I enjoyed. Now I start the second layer here. I'm putting more supports in with the spruce logs, and then I basically add the floor here just so that I know where it's going to sit. And yeah, this is our spruce planks here. And then I start building the walls up here on yellow concrete. This is just to help me use Axiom's tools to basically change the blocks the way I want them. The red is going to be the kind of stony, and the yellow is going to be the kind of smooth upward part, like you see on both of the builds in the background. Now I add support beams along here because this is where the tutorial took me. It also told me to add fence posts and the trapdoors on it, which I kind of get why they did. It was kind of like a lookout tower, but I didn't like that. Well, so I do change that later on. But I do build up the rest of the tower, and then I give the walls, add some more windows here, and then I basically... And then I then starting outer walls, which is going to be the part where you can see out from the roof, and this is where I add some support beams, a couple of windows before thinking about how I'm going to do the roof. Now the roof here, I am going to use spruce stairs, and I'm also going to use deep slate tile stairs. Now I do like the build that we done yesterday, and the fact that we used just the wood on the ceiling, the roof, but I find that it can be kind of plain and boring. I find it kind of plain and boring, but I do like it, but I just like the extra kind of flair. So the outlining and the contrast of colours I find looks a lot nicer these days. Now don't get me wrong, the build in the background looks really good. Blue Nerd is an amazing guy for that, but the one I've got in my starter base I like a bit more just because it kind of frames the roof as another part. So here I start on the roof. I use the deep slate tile stairs here, and then I'm going to use Axiom's tool here, and I am going to basically use the smear tool, which allows me to just copy it across, which is really nice. It's really handy, but I find out there's an issue that I didn't notice to begin with later on, and yeah, let's just say I will be very wary of the smear tool in the future. So I've got the back all covered there now. And then I come to the front here and I think about how the roof in the last episode kind of worked texture-wise. And I started turning some of the deep slate tile stairs round so that it gives an extra texture to the top there. So it's not just flat. And I really did enjoy it. And that big front bit, it was looking kind of plain, kind of boring. So I came in and I started adding a little arch, kind of similar to the roof, and using the deep slate tiles. But then I was like, nah, it just seems a bit too much, and I don't actually like it. But I do not take it away. I do come round with the spruce slabs, and I do an outline all the way round, kind of similar to the starter build in the back there. With that wood framing coming into place, it started to hide, but it actually brought it out a bit more. It gave a depth when you were actually looking at it in person. And with the concrete being there, it doesn't show it as well. When I actually go in and start changing the concrete to their actual blocks, it does change it a lot better. Now I start on the roof at the top here, same thing. Spruce outline, deep slate tile inside. Now you just see me there using a copy tool from Axiom, which just allowed me to copy what I'd already built over, rather than the smear tool, which allows you to do a long line of things. So this is where I take away those fences and trapdoors and start building the walls back up, because I didn't like the way it looked. I did mess up a little bit there, but do you know what? Things happen. Tools are meant to be kind of weird. And then I deleted something. I don't know what I deleted. And yeah, I don't get it. But yeah, so I get all these walls put up, and then I use a smear tool, no, the extrude tool, sorry, to put it all the way up. I get some more spruce logs here and put support beams along the side here. Add some windows, more support beams, and I'm pretty much done with the outside build. So I take some inspiration here with the chimney, and I actually build it up from the back here. Now, the reason I done it this way is because in the middle I could put like the cooking area. Now, I use some of the techniques I learned in the last one, adding some slabs and stairs to give it a kind of funnel looking shape. Go up a few blocks, add the campfire trap doors, and then I use the cobblestone wall for the top of it. And that's the outside done. Now it's time to basically start painting the whole of these walls. Now I use the select tool and catch all the yellow concrete. I go to the paint tool here and I start adding things in. Now I'm using oak planks and stripped logs. And now with the axiom tool, you can change the way the block properties face. So I first off use the wrong side and change it so that it looks a lot nicer. Now I just paint here, big massive circle, didn't work the way I thought it was going to be, so redone it several times, and I just thought something didn't feel right. Why was it only giving me a small amount? So I changed things over and masked the surface, and it gave me a better looking thing, but there was some issues. And this is kind of where I noticed that something was wrong. Like, why is it just doing that? And then I go in and accidentally break some blocks and realise that, wait a minute, that was too much yellow concrete and glass. So it turns out that the tool, of the smear tool, copied over that whole wall all the way across to where I needed it. So I go in here and I just delete all these blocks, and which will allow me to use the actual gradient brush a lot better because there's less blocks to worry about. Now I go up here, get that wee bit, come back out, looking to make sure there's no other issues before I start with the selection tool again. Go in and then I go for a mask here. So I use a block mask with the yellow concrete, and then I basically just go in with the gradient brush. Rather than have it selected, it will just search for those blocks. Then I come in here and change this off to spruce planks, and then come down, and then there is a part here where I add the bottom floor. I've not added this yet, so this is dark oak. I thought it would have been a bit nicer to have. I then come in, add a staircase, spiral one, all the way up so that we can actually get to the top floor. Try and figure out what blocks need to be deleted. And there we go. Then I get a set of ladders and basically get myself up to the third layer here, which I find there is some blocks missing. Add some lighting to the whole place, just to make sure that it is spawn proof. I then continue that up so that we have a support beam for the stairs inside. Now I get a lightning rod here and add it to the top of the chimney so that it doesn't catch on fire. Add a mask for red concrete, and this is where I found out that using red concrete was an issue because it took everything away. Now I come in and actually use the select tool now to select everything and then try again. And I noticed that there was one block there that was a bit out, and then a few up the top there. But other than that, it looked really okay. It wasn't as textures as I kind of hope it would have been, but it was a nice looking build. It was smooth in parts, rough in others, like wear and tear.